Hello, everyone, and thanks for watching Moonride, where we're channeling the man in the moon. So I'm gonna take a look. I recently did sort of radical action video with Harriet Tubman. This time, Mary is wanting to balance this all out, and let's see. And again, if you don't follow Christianity at all, and it doesn't do anything for you, keep in mind that Mary is the eternal feminine. It could be, you can take the energy that she carries to be Kuan Yin or white buffalo medicine woman. If you prefer, see her as an energy, which we've given a face to, or many faces to. Doesn't have to be any one religion. Yeah. Heaven is not an exclusive club, okay? Everybody gets to go there. So, Mary, what's your message? And it's just love. It's just, again, love. There's many of these things are very distressing, as we live in these times. They're very, very distressing. But keep in mind that people are being compelled to love very radically. They're being compelled to help people that they don't necessarily have to help. They're being compelled to stay at home with their families and people they care about, and really to act in love on just the simple things that you do every day. Just be very mindful as you're going through each day, and as you sort of start out in the morning, if you can meditate, but also with an intention. How can I act more lovingly to these people around me today? What could I do? um, Hopefully I won't die tomorrow, but if I were to die tomorrow, what would I want my last day to look like? That is a great way to look at every single day moving forward. Just consider, how would I want my time on this earth to look like? What can you do? What simple action can you do that shows love? No matter what, Skype people, maybe people you haven't talked to in a long, long time. Now's your chance. If you're at home, social distancing. You know, um, if you can find if you have any money that's extra, maybe give it to charities. Um, there are, as far as I know, no social networks where people make themselves available to help others. There may be in the future. I don't know about them. If you know about them, by all means, please put those comments below and direct us to. For example, I live in a place where I'd be happy to babysit some nurses or doctors' kids, as long as there weren't too many, because of course that would be a risk. I would do so, but I live in Australia and Adelaide, and I can't find any such organizations. But you know, there are some out there, I'm sure, and if they're not, let's go form them. We can do that largely online. Hmm. Yeah, don't forget, when you're loving someone, when you're offering love to another, you can ask, how would I like to be loved? Right? How would I like to be treated? Now, this could be dysfunctional, right? You don't want to keep going around treating everybody the way that you want to be treated and never getting anything in return, right? Because that represents imbalance. But right now is a time where you can act. This is an emergency. You act this way, even with no reward, even for a total stranger. Just reserve. Don't have any huge expectations that anybody's going to thank you. That is acting truly in love, where you just do it because it's a good thing to do, and afterwards, give yourself a pat on the back for being such a good person. That may be the only award you will get, but this is really important right now. Look, the high has become low, and it's going to get worse. It's going to change and change and change. The very, very wealthy 1% may be facing some serious consequences to the actions that have led to the spread of this virus, right? Everything is going to be upended. Nothing will look, the society that we live on is not going to look anything like it does in 5 years. Maybe even in 6 months, we will have a totally different society. So just as universe is being reformed, we want to act in a good way so that we can reform it in a good way. Nature is just sort of recalibrating itself and replacing bad priorities with good priorities, right? I mean, think of all the stuff that you buy, just everyone. Do we really need all that stuff? Does it really matter? You turn to your loved ones. Which would you give up? The things or the people in your lives? When you go to the, next life, what are you going to remember? Well, you're going to remember, how you were with others. This is very important. And, the anger I mentioned in the other video doesn't do any good if it's just yelling, right? It has to be very directed anger, right? It has to be helpful. It has to move things forward. In the same way, loving has to be the same. You show love to others in a radical way. It's a total stranger. Or maybe you've only got 2 rolls of toilet paper, but you give away 1. That right now is a radical act, right? And I'm just, you're getting up in the morning, ask yourself, what's a good thing I could do today? What's something that would bring me closer to the harmony that is represented in true and total love without judgment? What's something that I could do today that would, even the smallest things, I just got to notice personally the way I'm talking to people is a little bit different. The way I'm listening to people is just a little bit different. All our actions are already under a microscope. If we're going to put them under the microscope, just think, well, I could get in this argument because I'm stuffed in the same place with all these people right now. Or I could just go, how can I be reasonable? How can I take a deep breath and uncheck that box and, not do what I usually do? What's something that I could do to just make it better for everyone? What could I give up today that's just not that valuable for me anymore, that I could put into the category of I changed, I loved? This may be the only thing you can do today. That might be it. And do it. At least, you will have done something that you can be proud of today. Maybe in some ways, this is time for you to really reflect. And if you can, meditate in any way that makes you feel comfortable. If meditating and just sitting there and thinking about love and what that means works for you, great. If it helps, there are plenty of YouTube videos where where you can go and you can have guided meditations, for example, or things like this. Try this every day, whatever it is. I would even say several times a day. Just check in kind of with your higher self. Should I be acting this way? Do I need to yell at the person over the phone in this particular way? Is that helpful right now? When you're doing an act, think of somebody great. What would Joan of Arc do in this situation? What would, my spiritual guides do in this situation? What would Christ do in this situation, or Muhammad, or anyone else? What would those people be doing now? This doesn't mean you're putting yourself at the same level as them. You're just thinking of that person and kind of letting that, whoever that being is, if it's, again, Native American princess that you identify with, what would they be doing right now to just kind of elevate this situation and make it a little bit better? It might be that the people around you remember this time more than any other time. Again, there is a little bit of a silver lining. We're being asked to recalibrate things. And the sooner we do this, the sooner this will be better. If we don't recalibrate these things, it will go on and on and on for months and months and months, maybe even years, right? It might be that everything totally collapses until we recalibrate it. This is why it's very important for you to do your part in this, and that doesn't mean change the world. If your part here right now is just, how am I speaking to the person next to me, or can I bring groceries to my neighbor because I know they need help, or something like this, it may be as simple as that, or just a kind word to a stranger, obviously from a distance. Right? That could be all that you're able to do right now. Hmm. One thing that we learn on this planet is how to act in love. That is maybe the most important thing that we learn on this planet. So, if nothing else, let this be a time when you dedicate yourself to learning a little bit more of that. All right? Thanks for watching.